Dear colleagues, I would like to introduce my publication on the unification model, which posits equivalence and equality between cosmic levels, macrocosm and microcosm. This model, based on classical physics but incorporating numerous new contributions and perspectives, represents a complete unification and equivalence of cosmic levels in terms of elements, forces, dynamics, and so on. It is based on a universal constant, the number pi, whose functions govern the entire structure and dynamics of the cosmos. However, due to its extensive nature, I can only provide a brief introduction to the text of the model, which is available online or via a link. I believe this introduction is sufficient to understand its content and foundation. Thank you very much. Introduction to the model. Model of unification, equality, and equivalence between cosmic, macro and microcosmic levels. Author, Fernando Mancebo Rodriguez. Year of development, since 1990. Field, classical physics, cosmology, structure of matter. Abstract. This work proposes a physical unification model between the microcosm and the macrocosm, founded entirely on the principles of classical physics. The model upholds the equality and equivalence of the laws, forces, structures, and dynamics that govern both atomic and cosmic systems, postulating that both scales obey common harmonic proportions and geometric relationships. Unification is established through a set of structural constants, among which stands out a longitudinal dimension unification coefficient with a value of 2 pi times 10 to the power of 22, which allows the correlation between atomic and astronomical scales. Likewise, a general formula for atomic dimensions is proposed. Atomic mass equals atomic volume times atomic density, where the atomic density is defined as atomic density equals pi times square root of atomic weight par. And all of this is based on pi as the universal constant whose functions govern the entire architecture and dynamics of the cosmos. 1. Introduction. Since ancient times, physics has sought a unified understanding of the natural laws that govern both the infinitely large and the infinitely small. However, modern theories, such as general relativity and quantum mechanics, though successful in their respective domains, exhibit a clear conceptual separation between the atomic and the cosmic worlds. The model of unification, equality, and equivalence between cosmic, macro and microcosmic levels arises as a classical alternative that eliminates this division, proposing that the structures, proportions, and physical principles are identical and equivalent across all levels of the cosmos. 2. Theoretical foundations. The model is grounded on the pillars of classical physics. Times law of universal gravitation. Times principles of conservation of energy and momentum. Times classical electromagnetism, Coulomb's and Faraday's laws. Times Newtonian orbital dynamics. Times geometric relationships based on the number pi as a universal structural constant. From these foundations, the model seeks to establish universal scaling proportions, so that the magnitudes of mass, distance, energy, and density maintain fixed relationships between cosmic levels. 3. Fundamental constants and relations. 3.1. Longitudinal dimension unification coefficient. Cu equals 2 pi times 1022. Expressed in angstroms, this coefficient defines the scale relationship between the linear dimensions of atomic and cosmic systems. It acts as a geometric bridge that allows the proportional translation of structural magnitudes from one level to another. 3.2. General formula for atomic dimensions. Atomic mass equals atomic volume times atomic density. UMA times par equals 4 divided by 3, by pi r powering to 3 times pi square root of par, where UMA represents the atomic mass unit and p the atomic weight. This relationship leads to an approximate expression for the atomic radius. Atomic radius almost equal to 0.5 by 6 root of par. Hence, the atomic radius depends on the sixth root of the atomic weight, scaled by 1/2. 3.3 Orbital or satellite radius formula, simplified. Rn equals pi divided by 2 by the anterior orbital radius, where r is the radius of the orbital or satellite being considered. This relation defines the proportional decrease of orbital radii in successive levels, establishing a harmonic structure within atomic or planetary systems. 3. Dynamic development of the model and physical applications. 3.1 Dynamic nature of structural equivalence. The principle of harmonic equivalence is not limited to a static correspondence between forms or dimensions. It expresses a resonant dynamic. Systems remain in equilibrium through cyclic interaction between opposing forces that compensate each other through proportional rhythms. In microphysical levels, this dynamic manifests in positive electronic orbits, promoted and sustained by expansive magnetic fields and forces emanating from atomic nuclei, as well as in the stability of quantum energy states established at the atomic periphery. In astronomical levels, according to the model, the same field structures and orbital distributions occur, each depending on the nuclear mass of the central body. The model proposes that both scales obey a universal harmonic resonance law, where the natural oscillation frequencies are related by multiples or submultiples of the unification coefficient. Cu equals 2 pi times 10 to the power 22. 3.2 Application to atomic systems, the case of hydrogen and other atoms. The hydrogen atom, being the simplest and most fundamental, provides the ideal starting point for exploring this dynamic correspondence. Using the general atomic radius formula, Ra almost equal to 0.5 by 6 root of par, we obtain, for hydrogen, H. H equals 0.5 times 6th root of 1 is equal to 0.5 angstroms. For helium, He. He equals 0.5 times 6th root of 4 is equal to 0.63 angstroms. For neon, Ne, considered the possible atomic equivalent of our Sun. Ne equals 0.5 times 6th root of 20 is equal to 0.823 angstroms. Applying the equivalence coefficient between levels, we obtain for our solar system. Cu equals 0.823 times 6.28 times 10 squared equals 5.16 times 10 to the power of 1 squared meters, which corresponds approximately to the radius of the solar system, the region where Pluto orbits. The differences between this theoretical prediction and astronomical observations are minimal. Similarly, the orbital radii of the planets within our solar system fit remarkably well with the model's adjustments, where, according to the formula introduced earlier, they differ successively by a factor of pi 2. Universal motion and energy flow. From the standpoint of this model, universal motion is the first and fundamental manifestation of existence. Everything that exists is in motion, and that motion is the expression of the flow of cosmic energy through space. This flow, though constant in intensity, is variable in form, manifesting as vibration, rotation, translation, or radiation depending on the local equilibrium of forces. The speed of light, c, represents the universal modulus of this motion, the limit that defines the maximum relation between space and energy. It is not a barrier but a harmonic constant that connects the dynamics of all levels. Expansion and contraction of the universe. In the framework of gravitomagnetic equilibrium, the universe does not expand uniformly from a single point, as proposed by the standard Big Bang model, but oscillates harmonically between phases of expansion and contraction, maintaining its overall equilibrium. This pulsation reflects the rhythmic interaction between gravitational and magnetic energies. Times when the gravitational component predominates, contraction occurs. Times when the magnetic or expansive component predominates, expansion takes place. Both tendencies coexist perpetually, preventing collapse or infinite dispersion. The universe is therefore eternally self-regenerating, oscillating in a cosmic breathing that preserves total energy and structural balance. The cosmic dance. The cosmic dance is the symbolic and physical expression of the dynamic equilibrium of the universe. It is the eternal oscillation between the poles of attraction and expansion, through which the cosmos sustains its form, its rhythm, and its perpetual regeneration. Each particle, each star, and each galaxy is a dancer in this infinite choreography of energy and geometry. Their orbits, vibrations, and fields are the steps of the universal dance, guided by the constant pi, which sets the rhythm of existence. In this sense, the universe is not a mechanical construct but a harmonic being in motion, where physics and geometry converge in a single law of equilibrium and resonance. Well, friends, to hear this simple introduction to the model. Thank you very much.